In order to create a robust change management strategy, you need to focus on two main practices: communication and training. I'm Parisa Noble, Global Content Strategist with Third Stage Consulting, and today we're going to chat a bit about how you can leverage communication and help your team through a change. After performing an organizational assessment to probe your company culture and truly get a grasp for your employees' appetite to change, that's when you begin mapping out an OCM strategy. Now, to create that strategy, you need to focus on what I just mentioned, those two pillars, communication and training. Now, when you start on your communication plan, it's important to realize that transparency is key. We live in the era of authenticity, and the moment your employees or your team realizes that they aren't fully in the loop, that's when they might lose trust and develop a resistant attitude toward the change. The first place you start is with your timeline. You figure out what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, and how you're going to say it. Start early. As soon as you realize there's a change coming down the pipeline, that's when the communication should begin. And it should carry you all the way through, even after go live, to make sure your team is still in the loop and feels comfortable with all the changes that are coming down the pipeline. The goals of your transformation project should be aligned directly with the goals you have in place for your communication plan. If you have milestones set out for your project, the communication plan should also have goals that are set out in alignment with that timeline. Now, it's important to communicate through a variety of different channels to get your message across. Don't expect your employees to get on board with how you do things. Rather, you need to find out how they prefer to communicate and meet them there. Consider using email, text, phone, video conference, put up flyers around your office, host seminars, host roundtables to get people's ideas and understand any uneasy feelings they have toward the change, or even any recommendations that they have toward improving processes or adopting new technologies. Get them involved. The more involved they are, the more inclined they will feel to adopt that new process and adopt that new technology. I even encourage you to celebrate by hosting an event. Celebrate the change. Yes, it may seem scary, but if you bring that positivity and spin it, people will be more inclined to jump on board. Now let's talk about what exactly you should communicate. What should you say? If you follow us on LinkedIn or you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you know that we always talk about organizational change management. OCM is probably one of the most important elements to a digital transformation. But what do you say to help people deal with change? Well, it all comes down to one message, and it's what's in it for me. And we have said that many times, but what does that mean? When you really drill down to it, it means something different for people on the sales team versus, for example, people on the accounting team. Regardless of what your message is, whether you're sharing an update, a milestone, if you're conveying the vision of how you're driving efficiencies for your company, always pull it back to what is in it for them and make it customized. Customize your message to the recipient on the other end. So let's take a look at the two examples, a salesperson versus an accounting manager. People in sales are often motivated by money. That's why they're in sales, right? So if you take the message and craft it in a way that outlines the efficiencies that will help them drive more business and close more deals through the efficiencies that this technology will bring, they will be more open-minded to that change of having to put in their leads and, share the information, and you'll likely see less resistance in that case. If you say to an accountant that they'll make more money, that's not really going to get them excited. An accountant will likely get excited by having to do less busy work, driving efficiencies. There's different elements and different motivations depending on which role. And to take a step back, it also depends on how much that person will be impacted by this change. If you have somebody who 50% of their job will become automated due to this technology, they will likely feel a little bit more nervous than a person who won't see that much of a difference in their day-to-day. The communication that you deliver to the person that's experiencing the biggest change should look a little bit different than the person who won't feel it as much. And it all comes down to how will it make their life easier, what benefit will they get, and why should they even be on board? Your middle management team will likely have a better scope into how each department, each team is feeling about the change. Lean on them, ask them, bring them to the table and talk to them about the motivations of their team so that you can most effectively craft your message around the change. Your communication should be where you address resistance. This is where you get the buy-in. This is where you address the fears and the threats of automation. After you get through that initial phase of communicating what's coming, that's when you can start training. But the last thing you want is to have your employees walk into a training with those fears and with those hesitations, not understanding how their job is going to be impacted, not understanding what it means for them in their day-to-day role. You need to make sure that your team understands fully how their job is changing, how it's going to be better before they come into the training, so that you can make sure your training focuses specifically on how to leverage the technology, how to use the technology, and how to operate in the new processes. Just like your communications were delivered in different formats, your trainings need to be delivered in different formats as well. Think of hosting, again, seminars, roundtables, create video courses, host conference calls, meet your employees where they are and help them learn in the way that they best learn. Maybe some prefer a handout on how to do something, while others need a one-on-one session with their managers to learn how to do it. You need to hit all the different points so that people can register and understand the processes in their own way. There is so much more that goes into a cohesive change management strategy. If you'd like more information on how to make sure your team jumps on board with a process or technology shift, make sure to subscribe to our channel. You could also give us a call or shoot one of our team members an email. We have dedicated organizational change management consultants all around the world who have been helping businesses large and small with their change management strategies.